Hi, good morning. Hey, I thought I'd do this podcast to share what I've learnt so far. I'm 3 months into my 2-year journey, and wow, I've learnt so much. So I might start with my most recent discovery, and then we'll get on to the bigger picture. And so most recently, I've been meditating every day just about. And so meditation being the stilling of the mind and just focusing on one thing. So letting everything else go. And so what I choose to do is just to focus on the breath and just to follow the breath in and out. And that's all I notice. And then what I find is that when I come out of the meditation, so much in my life becomes so clear. And so even though it's very subtle, the effects of meditation, it has a profound effect on your everyday life. It washes over onto your everyday life to make you so much more aware of what's happening in it and your separateness from it, and yet your attachment to the ingredients of it. And so what I've discovered recently with my ego is that my ego is all about right and wrong, black and white. It wants to finalise situations. And if I don't find finality with a situation, it will keep niggling me. It'll keep on feet going into my mind and just hassling me. It's like having, I suppose, a dog that's hungry for its dinner. And until the dinner is given and complete, the dog will keep on, letting you know that it's hungry. And so that's the way I've seen the ego, is that the ego's hungry to complete something. And until it's completed it, it will keep on niggling in your mind. So to give an example, recently, I came to see a mate, and when I was here, there was something that was broken while I was here. I didn't really get too caught up in it because I didn't see my place in it, because I was unaware of my role in the whole situation. So I didn't give it too much attention. Now that I've come back again, I found out that I was the one that broke it. I have no recollection of this, but my mate wouldn't say it unless it was true. She must have seen me break it and I didn't notice it. And being the beautiful person she is, she's just, not made a big deal about it. And so when this first came up, when I got here, my ego straight away jumped onto, no, that's not right. I did not do it. And it was interesting watching my ego because it so wanted to prove itself to be right. I find that interesting, that it always wants to be right. And so after meditating, I sat with it and thought, okay, well, the ego's going to keep going me until I feed it. And so I thought, well, my mate wouldn't say it unless she knew it to be true. She's not one for assumptions. So she must have seen me do it to know that I did it. And so I thought, all I need to do is apologise, and by rights I should have fixed it or replaced it, but unaware at the time I wasn't able to. So I just need to take ownership for it and correct the situation. And so once I'd decided that's what I was going to do, it left my mind. I fished for it and it was not there. It was complete. So through this experience, I've noticed that the ego wants to complete something. It wants to be right. But if you accept and take on that you aren't right, or whatever the truth is at the time, it doesn't really matter really in the big picture, but once you take ownership of something to do with it, it's released and it no longer goes you. You've just got to see the ego as being like a dog that needs to be fed, and ignoring it isn't going to make it go away, because it just keeps on going when you're at your weakest point. And so that's the first thing I've noticed in the last 3 months. That's just a recent one. What else have I noticed? The other thing, I'm playing with a hypotheses, and this is for you, Harmony, so you can hear where I'm up to. I'm playing with a hypotheses that's come about through my searching for who am I. Okay, and so in the past, I believed the soul to be the extension of spirit that we travelled with. That we've got many great spirits that form one spirit, and each of the great spirits have these tentacles, and each of these tentacles are souls. They come from great spirit. They're flavours of the same great spirit, and until recently, I believed that that's how it all worked. What I've discovered, again, through just freeing my mind and being in nature and spending a lot of time just looking at nature, was that potentially the soul is the place where 100% of energy and 100% of love is stored. And it's our access point to this 100% energy and 100% soul. And that's what the soul is. It's the container that holds love, unconditional love, and holds energy for this vehicle to access as it travels through life. And so if that's the case, just by tuning into our soul and doing any kind of exercises that allow us to connect with our soul, we can actually access 100% unconditional love. We can access 100% energy. Now, in the past, before this great divide that we've just gone through, we would get that energy and that love from others in our dualistic situation. But now that we've divided and we've moved into an evolved form of evolution, we can actually access that 100% love and 100% energy through our own soul. It's like it's the plug. And so to access that, of course, is all those activities we know that allow us to tune more into that. Meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, martial arts, sitting in nature, eating really good food, all of those things that allow us to tap more into the soul rather than the ego. Now here comes the ego's part in the whole story. And so because we're still walking on this dualistic world and having this experience down here so that we can evolve or whatever the notion is, we have to have an ego. And our ego is what is the vessel. It allows this vessel to function that we're travelling in. Without the ego, we wouldn't feed it, we wouldn't give it water, we wouldn't rest it, we wouldn't do all those things and have all those experiences we need to have to potentially evolve our consciousness. And so the ego is really important. And until now, I was under the understanding that we had to tame the ego. But what I'm coming to know now is that the ego needs to be listened to and attended to and released, because this is where I'm up to. I believe there's a higher level of the ego that once we can learn to feed the ego and so keep it at bay, then we can walk into the higher ego. I don't know what I'm going to find in that, but this is what I'm up to. Now, what I've told you so far has led me to believe that as far as who am I goes, I am the combination that comes about from the interaction between the soul and the ego. This is where I lie, is this interaction. Now, I'm not a physical thing, although I have elements of the physical from the ego. I'm not a spiritual thing, although I have elements of the spiritual. But I lay in infinite material. I don't know what word you use. Maybe essence. I am infinite essence that comes about by this interaction between the ego and the soul. And so what this has led me to believe is that my individuality has only come about by this interaction. Once I die and I go back into 100% love and energy, then I'm no longer me, because I don't have that interaction with the physical ego, with that experiential lifestyle. And so my individuality is very unique, because it's how my feelings that come about and my experiences and my understanding on a higher level that comes about from this interaction. And so that's where I'm up to after 3 months of exploring who am I. I'm looking forward to having still a year and 9 months to explore this further on this spiritual pilgrimage I'm on. It's a fascinating time to explore all this information, because if you look at the astrology, it's really supporting us in finding these higher layers of the mind, so to speak. So Yeah, write some comments about what you believe, because I'm researching this, so I'm very open to hearing other people's beliefs and thoughts in this area. All right, have a beautiful day. Love ya. Okay, F7, F8. Van life.
Walk on, walk on, rollers breaking, 'cause my spirit's been waking to the voice of Jehovah. There's no rush or rush from the time, no more industrial fires when you're walking on the way.